Hello everyone, welcome back. So in one of my recent tutorials, someone asked me how I made the bass in that particular video. So today I want to show you a step-by-step and a simple method of making a dark side bass. Let's go. So for this tutorial, I'm using Vital. It's a completely free synth and you should go check it out. Let's start by turning the phase all the way down to 0 and the randomization. And this is to make sure that every bass note is hitting exactly at the same frequency. Second thing, let's add a filter and let's turn the resonance to 0 as well. And the cutoff to around 20 Hz. One more thing I like to do is add a bit of distortion and let's type in around 3 dB, just to fatten up the bass a bit. Let's assign macro 3 to the filter, and to make it easier for you, I also assign the macros from the synth to the group in Ableton, and I've typed in automation for the filter. So at the moment we have this. I want you to notice two issues. First of all, the transient of the kick is changing every time a bass note is hitting. Second, look at the second part of the kick and notice that it has a bit of a weird shape to it. And if I turn the bass off, you can see this is the shape of the kick without the bass, and this is the shape of the kick with the bass. So what is exactly happening there? At this part, the bass and the kick have slightly different phase to them, so they're cancelling each other out. There is a way to fix this to make sure the bass and the kick are aligned perfectly together, and I will show you in a bit how it works. The next thing I want to do with this bass is add a bit of pitch modulation. So I want to take LFO1 and create a shape like so. I want it to be on a quarter note, change it to sync. So we're working on a quarter note, I want the LFO to match it, and I want the LFO to control the pitch by 1 semitone. So let's type in 12 semitones. Let's solo the bass, and this is the effect. I don't want this to play every note, I want it to play when I decide. So what I want to do is, I want to take macro 1 and assign it to the purple circle. Notice we have now a green dot inside this purple circle. That means when macro 1 is off, the LFO is deactivated, and it will activate when I turn it on. So let's do the same with macro 2. I prepared that in advance. Let's put it on the pitch and let's type in -12 dB. I prepared a note which is an octave higher. If I was to play it on the lower octave note, it would sound a bit too low. So, in order to make it easy, I've named all of these macros and I opened the lanes here so you can see which one is pitch up, which is the pitch down, and which is the filter. Let's assign the pitch down to the higher octave note, and let's assign the pitch up to this. And next step, and this is probably the most important one, we need to record this into audio. And I will show you in a second why this is a crucial step in the process. So I want to do just a bit more processing for the bass. First thing, I want to add a FabFilter Saturn. Just default preset to just fatten up the bass a bit more. Second, and this is something that you might not hear the effect of it, but it's really important. We want to cut the low frequencies of the bass with quite a big slope. So anything below the note of D0, which is the note we're working on, is unnecessary. This might not be noticeable, but this takes a lot of mixing space. No one can actually hear or feel these frequencies. If you're using Ableton, you should know about this plugin called Pip. It allows you to record anything into audio with a click of a button. So now that we recorded the notes into audio, we can start tackling the different issues that we had earlier in this video. So the first thing you will notice is that this note is actually longer than a quarter note, and this part of the bass note is actually interfering with the kick. So let's delete that, and let's add a tiny phase right here. So as you can see, we managed to sort out the first issue, and that is the transient of the kick that is now remaining unchanged. But I want you to focus on this part next, which is this part right here where the kick and the bass are overlapping. Notice how much of a difference there is in the shape of the kick when the bass is playing. And that is leading to a lot of gain reduction, which can be an issue because we want the kick and the bass to be the loudest part in our track. So there's two ways I can try to fix it. First thing is inverting the phase of the bass. So if you're in Ableton, search for the utility plugin, click this arrow and search for the phase invert preset. Let's add that into our bass channel. Let's turn it off and I want you to see what the phase invert does to the bass. Now that you know what the phase invert is doing, it's just flipping the shape of the audio wave, we will play it with the kick. So you can see quite a big improvement there, but it's still not perfect. I'll turn the bass on and off so you can see the real shape of the kick. So what we can do is, we can add a bit of a fade to make sure that we're reducing the volume of this part of the bass so it doesn't interfere with the kick. Let's see what is the effect of this. Amazing. As you can see, the kick is now have its own shape and there is no interference from the bass. That means that both elements, the kick and the bass, can be as loud as possible. So we need to repeat this process for all three notes. So, if you're enjoying this tutorial so far, feel like you're learning a lot, please consider subscribing to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Thanks. And if you want to learn how I made the percussions in this bassline, make sure to watch this tutorial next. Thanks for watching and hopeful to see you in the next video.